Are we not a sporting nation?
Of course, we are not. I think let's not be clear. We're not. We're getting there. We don't produce enough coaches in the country.
Pullela Gopichand, do you believe that India as a whole nation has failed to promote, to come up with a more pro-athlete friendly sports policy?
I think if we were to look dispassionately about Indian sport, we have to recognize the fact that the last 10-15 years for Indian sport have been fantastic. We've grown very much, whether it's our infrastructure. Of course, we can always say that we need more infrastructure, but definitely the improvement has been pretty drastic. Also policies, whether it's Khelo India or Top Scheme or corporates coming into sport, or the very interest in Olympic sports from the government, the PM's initiatives of meeting players. I think all of them have been a lot done in the right direction for sport. So I think we have developed definitely, but also there's no doubt that we need to do much more on all fronts. So as far as sport is concerned, we would need infrastructure, we would need coaches and support staff, we would need policy and development, and we would need athletes. All of these are very important pillars in growing, and I think we have done decently well. We surely have lacunas, but our athletes have done well, and no doubt about it. And the younger generation is very inspired. We have also built infrastructure decently well, because I don't think we started off at a great place 10 years ago. But now I think a lot of things are falling in place, and we need to get our policies better. We need to get our atmosphere and structure even better.
Your last 2 points you have mentioned, more better policy and more emphasis on structure development. Can you put some more light on this? Mainly 3 states nowadays producing more athletes, like UP, Haryana and Rajasthan. And if you take badminton and all, there is little bit decentralization. Why this? Why there is no pan-India representation in Indian athlete?
I think there are a lot of factors to it. I think some places have culturally an atmosphere for certain sports. I think Bengal would be where football was for a very long time. Like that, I think some states had volleyball and some states had running for a very long time. So I think wrestling, boxing, they were all sports where traditionally Haryana and Punjab were. And then if you have produced champions, whether it's Sushil Kumar or whether it's Neeraj Chopra, then I think those players do inspire the next generation of people also to take up sport. I think some of these states have done well, that jobs had played an important role in these players from these states taking up sport. So I think it's a great initiatives of government which have actually facilitated this, and I think different areas have different physicalities, different cultural affinity towards sport, and inspiration of the champions. I think a combination of these things, I think, makes the environment fertile.
Do you believe that India is so fanatic about cricket and we have achieved a lot in cricket? Do you believe that this so much attention that cricket is getting from the corporate to every citizen of India, do you believe that the too much attention cricket is getting, and that's why some of all the sports are being neglected?
To be fair, I think instead of looking at what cricket has done or whether it's eating away from other sport, I would really look at this position and say that I think there is a sport which has actually showed the way forward for Indian sport. I think we need to learn from the way cricket is managed. We need to draw inspiration from the fact that if cricket can do it, other sports can do it as well.
Well said.
And I think it has to be taken in a positive spirit. And when Indians have done well in various other sports, I think the Indian public has been with them. So I think it's about producing those champions. It's a bit of a chicken and an egg situation. And we need to break the cycle somewhere. And if we do that, I'm sure the country is watching and support is coming from
I,
minister.
I want to say where we are lacking 140 billion. Are we not a sporting nation?
Of course, we are not. I think let's not be clear. We are not. We are getting there. We've done very well in the last 10 years. We have made great strides. But to say that we are a cricketing nation, yes, but we are an Olympic sports kind of a nation, not yet.
So what prevents us to be a sporting nation?
I think there are a lot of things which are there. We started off very low for the last, say, 50, 60 years. We never worked on this as much. Only the last 10 years or so, literally from the Modi government, we've actually had this big push. And it will take time. Sports is a long-term investment, a long-term gestation period. So it will take time for the policies to come fruit. We've inspired the athletes, we've made them come onto the courts, we've made them come onto the grounds, and it will take time for us to produce those results. We need to be consistent, we need to be proactive, we need to keep making marginal improvements in the way we are, and we need to compound effort after effort from everybody. It's the athletes, the coaches, the administration, the support team around, whether it's the people, society, or the sports science team. I think each of us have to bring their little bit more effort into the ecosystem, and that will be a very important.
How this academy format is important to promote Indian sports in a different league. Do you think that there should be some regulation or something like that?
I think each sport is different. We need to identify and recognize what the sports problems are. Some sports have grassroots level issues, some sports have higher level issues, and some sports have inspiration issues. I think we need to recognize each sport, the level where we are, the level where we need to go to, and who will take us there. It's a very important aspect. As far as academies are concerned, I think they really help if we are able to make a pathway where we are able to differentiate grassroots, intermediate and elite as 3 levels, and talk about this in a very scientific manner for each sport independently. I think that will make a lot of sense.
Good academy, good future, good contribution.
I think we need to identify pockets where there is talent. We need to invest in good coaches, because coaches are the key ingredient for us to produce players. We need very motivated people on the ground, and that makes a lot of difference. So we do not want the number is not going to solve the problem. I think scientific, strong, ground level work is what is going to get us the results.
In India, only rich can afford sports. You still believe that?
Well, I think the statement holds good. I think in the present setup, if 1,000 people were to wrestle or 1,000 people were to do shooting or badminton, we only have one slot at the Olympics for an athlete in a particular weight category, or maybe two athletes. The rest of the people are going to fail at some level on the way. It's very important for us, like how many other top nations have done it, to educate our athletes, to skill our athletes to a life beyond sport. Because if somebody were to realize that they are not going to be the top 1 or 2, 3 players, what happens to their life after sport is a very important question which needs to be addressed. At the moment, we've grown very fast and we've not addressed this issue. And the very point of making that statement was to get attention, to address the exit strategy for our athletes across the board. Because the nature of sport is such that if 10,000 people play also, you only have a few slots in the up there. So out of which those people will be taken care of in some sense, but what about the rest of them, and how do we secure for them? Because our education system doesn't deal with it in the same way which a Western education system does, where they're educating their athletes, they're skilling them and preparing for life after sport if they don't make it big in the sport. So the very idea was to bring attention to this subject, which is very important.
My last question to you. Your message to those students who are blindly going to Mohallewala Academy, every academy, how will they differentiate between a good academy and bad academy?
We've grown inspiration-wise, we've grown people, we've drawn them to come to these academies. Now that's a major job which is done. But having done this, now we have the problem of regulation of the academies. We don't produce enough coaches in the country. We don't produce motivated high-level coaches in the country. We don't understand a grassroots coach value in the system. We don't pay our coaches well enough. We don't have coach the coaches program enough. And we don't have funds, functionaries, and at the bottom level. So I think we need structures which actually decentralize a little bit, get us to the level where the coach is taking care of a small ecosystem and he has the funds and the functionaries and the people around to actually get this entire setup to the way which is conducive for producing the next level of players to be sent to the higher level of training places.
Thank you very much for talking with us.
Thank you.